This is the first of the Paddingtons not to be directed and co-written by Paul King, who went off to do Wonka, as Hugh said. So this is directed by Dougal Wilson, who's also an ad grad making a feature debut. And as you mentioned, Emily Mortimer has taken over from Sally Hawkin as Mrs. Brown, but the other cast members are back. And just in case you didn't get it from that interview, I'll show everybody did. Paddington gets word that Aunt Lucy is pining for him in Peru. So he and the Browns go there. But when they get there, she's disappeared. And they're left with Olivia Colman's not at all suspicious, because she keeps saying suspicious, Mother Superior, who runs the home for retired bears. So they head off into the jungle in search of Aunt Lucy. And that search means that their paths end up crossing with Antonio Banderas' riverboat owner and a general quest for El Dorado. So sending your characters abroad is basically something that sequels do when they kind of think, okay, well, what are we going to do next? And particularly with a character like Paddington, it's a very tricky thing, because the thing with Paddington is when he's in the UK, he's like, he's a fish or a bear out of water who comes to reflect and typify the very best of what we can be. I mean, you said this in the interview, and it's absolutely true. I mean, it's a credit to Michael Bond that his creation is one of those things that we now think of as, as a great, a great avatar of our better selves. He had tea with the Queen in that film, and this episode starts with him getting a British passport, and none of that. So when you go abroad, you take away that key element and you replace it with something else, and you replace it with a sort of sightseeing adventure. And I have to say that in general, I've never found that to be a good swap. However, as Hugh Bonneville was saying, at its heart, it's a film about family. The Brown kids are growing up. The parents are worried about empty nesting. Paddington is away from his tribe. He wants reuniting with his aunt. And the messages of the film are, the difference between tribe and family, the fact that family are worth more than gold, the difference between where you're from and where you call home. These are all good, solid messages. The best thing about the film is, I think, Olivia Colman's flying and singing nun is just, because she's kind of, it's a cross between Sally Field and Julie Andrews with a touch of Helen Reddy from Airport 75, and this kind of this manic
and menace.
And as she keeps saying, not suspicious at all. And one of my favorite things, she said, well, God moves in suspicious ways. I think it's mysterious. I mean, she's consistently funny all the way through. There are also some unexpected cinema gags. The first time you see Antonio Banderas' character, it's a joke about Fitzcarraldo. I mean, it's a joke about a Werner Herzog film. He's on a boat with a gramophone playing opera. You go, wow, I did not expect to see a Fitzcarraldo gag there. Then there's the Indiana Jones thing with the huge boulder and the action adventure thing. There's a perilous rope bridge crossing. So you get a lot of those kind of nods. Sanjeev gets a one line a cameo, so it's good
yes,
to see.
It definitely needed more Sanjeev.
Yes, everything generally needs more Sanjeev. And then there is the weird thing that you need to stay through the credits. And when I say through the credits, I mean all the way through the credits, because without giving anything away, there is a sort of scene stealing. Well, there's two scene stealing moments in the credits. Let me just say, it would be heresy not to stay for the credits.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Because I enjoyed it enormously.
Yes.
It's not as good as Paddington 2.
No, it isn't.
And
I think it is the weakest of the three Paddington films. But I still enjoyed it.
Yes. But the bit that you're talking about now, that's through the credits and at the end of the credits, and there are, as with any animated film or a film that has some kind of animation in it, there are millions of people involved.
Yes.
So you do have to hang around for 5 minutes. But I wonder if when you've seen that, it reminds you how good Paddington 2 was.
And in fact,
that's the danger of that.
And in fact, that is literally what I have written here in my notes, is that the danger... No, it's fine. I mean, it means we're on the same page, is that you are left with a reminder of how much you enjoyed the previous installment. So, as I said, I think it is a generic problem with taking Paddington out of the environment in which the character really makes sense and taking him somewhere else. And it's something that sequels do because they feel that they have to. And like I said, what it does is it swaps one thing for another thing. And the other thing is basically scenic adventure, which is fine. It's not really what I want from a Paddington movie. But then, then there's Olivia Colman being suspicious. And then there's the joke about Fitzcarraldo. And then there's the bit at the end.
Here's another plus. So I think I'm right in this, but Child One messaged me, and because Child One is trying to find a movie to take grandson one to,
yes,
and he's 2 and a bit, right?
Okay,
so he's seen Studio Ghibli on a television,
sure.
And he said, "What do you think?" And Paddington in Peru, I would say, has the fewest scares. So Paddington 1 and 2 actually had some moments of genuine peril, which for younger viewers might find scary. Paddington in Peru doesn't really have that, and so I would say of all the films, it is the most suitable for taking very young children to.
It has lots of adventure. But you're right, very little. I mean, even the perilous rope bridge isn't very perilous. Although this does remind me of Monty Python and Holy Grail. I want to go back and face some of the peril. It's far too perilous. Can't I just have a bit of peril?